You're listening to the ReachCast show, your weekly stop for the latest and greatest in the Planetside 2 universe and its community.
All right, everybody, it's May 6th, and you are listening to episode 32 of the ReachCast show, a proud member of the Araxis Global Network. Tonight, we have Derringer.
Hello, everybody.
And myself, Knox. Torx was taken by a succubus and will no longer be on the show, so that's it for him.
He's never coming back?
No, he's coming back next week, so, don't cry too much, everybody.
Actually, he'll be back Wednesday. Oh, and that's probably when people will be actually listening to this show.
Yeah, and he will be here for the Community Clash, I believe. So
I hope so.
I'll be late. Otherwise, you're going to be alone again. Well, and then not do it.
Well, this week, we'll get to it later. I've already set up something I will be playing with a Matherson outfit this week, so.
Yeah, all right. So this week's show is brought to you by the cries of laughter and joy that Game Update 8 gave us, which is quite the opposite reaction that I predicted, calling it Cryfest Management, and also by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on ReachCastShow.com, which we greatly appreciate, them Amazon clicks and all that. We also played with Imperial Reach, the 666 Devil Dogs, and Dropping Purple Smoke this week. And for the show, we have, of course, Game Update 8 to talk about, the Loyal Soldiers thing that they did, which is pretty cool, and there's a Squad Beacon, F&O, all that great stuff. So I guess let's do some patch updates.
I'm going to get these mosquitoes in the air and rain down some hellfires on those fools. Oh no! What the f***? I should have listened to the ReachCast patch notes.
Well, this week we had Game Update 08, as Knox alluded to earlier in the show. And starting off, we have new in the depot, Max Weapons. We've got the NC, they get the Raven. The TR get the Fracture. And the VS get the Vortex. And just so Bear sees there, I said Fracture, not Knox. The Raven is a laser-guided rocket launcher that deals heavy damage to vehicles. The Fracture is dual rotary cannon that fires high-velocity rockets, again, designed specifically to penetrate armor. And the Vortex basically is just like a beefed-up Lancer. And again, it can you can charge each of those bad boys up 3 times and fire them in one big fat blast. As with the Lancer, it does use a lot more ammo if you charge up that shot. Now,
I promised Bear that I wouldn't talk about the Fracture. So rather than talk about the Fracture being amazing, I'm going to talk about the shortcomings the Raven and the Vortex have compared to the Fracture.
And that's a little later in the show, am I right?
Is that later? No, let's do it now.
Let's do it now. Go.
Let's do it now. I think the Raven is pretty awesome, except for the fact that you have to stay on your target until the rockets hit, and they move pretty slowly. But if anyone's fired with the AV turret, it works exactly like that. So even though the guide, it's actually tricky to hit moving vehicles if they're moving like perpendicular to your aim, because you have to lead them still. So it's pretty good. I bought it on my NC character. I also bought the Fracture on my TR. I haven't bought the Vortex. The Vortex has got its shortcoming of that charge time, right?
Yes.
But I'll go on later about why that is the way it is, or why I believe Sony made it the way it is, which I'm going to guess that's why the way it is, because I feel like I'm pretty smart like that. But it's got that instant travel time, and it's got a lot more recoil than the Raven and the Fracture do.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we saw that on the test server prior to it even launching. There was a lot of recoil to it.
Yep. So they're both pretty good. I prefer the one that I'm not supposed to talk about.
Well, I think I can talk about it since I made no such promise.
Yes, you can.
My issue with the Fracture And I think this is why they don't want us to talk about it, because people are afraid that it's going to get nerfed with us talking about it so much. The fracture just seems like it's death to infantry in addition to armor. It seems like it's doing too much damage to infantry. That's my personal opinion of the fracture itself. I do not see the same issues with the Vortex or the Raven, because...
the Raven does massive damage to infantry.
It does, but I think it's still harder to hit infantry with the Raven than it is with the fracture.
Infantry don't stand still.
Exactly. And the Vortex...
I did kill 2 infantry firing 2 rockets at the same time, and I got really lucky, and like while I was curving following one hit the other infantry that was hurt, and the other hit the guy I was aiming for, who was also already hurt.
So it's dumb luck.
Oh, yeah, but it was totally cool.
All right, we've spent too much time on these max weapons already, especially because I know we're going to talk about them later, too.
Well.
So what else do we have in the depot?
We have faction helmets. The NC have the Night Stalker helmet. The TR
I think it's Night Striker.
Oh, yeah, thank you. You're right. I need to L2 read.
This isn't WoW.
No.
Didn't WoW have the Night Stalker?
Something like, yeah, probably. It's probably some rogue thing. Then TR had, or maybe a druid thing? I don't know. TR had the Dreadnought, and VS have the Hyperion helmet. They're all pretty cool. I don't know really. I feel like you have to have some of that composite armor for them to look good, though, because if you guys do the preview mode, did you do this, Danger? When you click in the bottom right, there's the different classes you can select?
Yes.
Because these are available on all classes when you buy one. It's 1,000 instead of like 700, but you get, boom, across the board. But it's freaking huge unless you have the composite armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was playing around with them on the test server, and, I have not seen a lot of the Hyperion because I play VS. I have not seen much of the Dreadnought, but I have seen the Night Striker everywhere.
Oh, really?
It seems like every NC on Helios has purchased the Night Striker, or at least every NC on Helios that kills me is wearing the Night Striker.
The Dreadnought, because that's the one that looks like the Brotherhood of Steel or
Stormtrooper helmet. Yeah, I do like the Dreadnought, I have to say. I'm not a big fan of the Hyperion, and I'm not a real fan of the Night Striker either. It just kind of looks weird.
I feel the same way about the Night Striker, and it's definitely more flippin' Fallout than it is Star Wars.
Yeah,
because it's got the gas mask aspect of it.
Either way, I do think the Dreadnought's the best of the three. I think we have a consensus on that one.
Yes, we do.
So
there's also max helmets. There's 6 of these, 2 for each. The NC get the MT Regulator, the Extractor LP. The TR get the Golem Mark 1 and the Colossus. And the VS get the Preceptor and the Xenozeus.
Xenozeus?
Is the Xenozeus the alien one?
I think well, they're both alien ones.
I mean, like that one.
I don't like either of the VS ones. And I know we talked about it last show as well. I said they're too alien and Vanu's alien. I get it. I understand how it works. I can still not like them. Yeah. I really think the only one I really like is that, is it the Colossus, the one that's just the flat black panel for the TR?
Danger Will Robinson.
Yes.
I don't know which one it is. I think you're right, though. The Golem one. No, yeah, the Golem one looks like a composite helmet on steroids.
Danger, Will Robinson. If you could see me now, I'm swinging my arms.
So they also has Max Ogre armor, which is pretty cool across the board, I think.
Which we previewed that community clash on the test drone.
Yep.
I think we discussed the Max Ogre armor last show as well.
We did. And then single-use camos are gone.
I thought that was interesting.
The depot. And I noticed but didn't. It's one of those things where it said it. I was like, oh, I did notice that. But you didn't really kind of like store it in memory when you noticed.
Yeah, the thing that I don't like about this, though, is that I bought a single-use camo by accident a while back.
Did you lose it?
No, I used it.
Did it become perma-use now?
No. Now it shows up as 0 of 999.
Oh, like you...
It's got in the upper right-hand corner. So every time I go... It's on my TR character, first of all. So every time I go onto my TR character now, if I go to switch camos, not when I just do the selector at the bottom of the screen, but when I'm actually in the vehicle or person itself, when I go to switch camos, that's on the bottom, but it says 0 of 999 in it, and it won't let me select it, but it's constantly there. I kind of wish they just... If we don't have any of them, I'm kind of hoping in a future patch they just purge all those out.
Oh, have you already lost it beforehand or something?
I already used it.
But did you unuse it?
No, it's on one of my vehicles, I believe. I put it on one of my Lightnings way back, like forever ago, and I've never changed it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So it's been used, but it still shows up in my inventory as if I could continue to use it, but it says I don't have any of them.
Well then.
So maybe I'm the only one that's happened to.
Probably not.
Probably not. That's why I'm thinking perhaps in a future patch that they'll just purge all those out if they've all been used. I can understand if I still had one to use, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Well,
I think we should move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I was going to say. Next up is new common pool vehicle, the Harasser, which I know we talked ad nauseum last show about, but this is one of the biggest things in this patch is the Harasser. So obviously it's a speedy armored assault buggy, plays dual roles, both a transport and a strike vehicle, can carry 3 people, a driver, which cannot fire, a gunner, and a passenger in the rumble seat, which can be a max unit. Now, I will tell you that when I logged in immediately after this patch on, was it the 2nd when that dropped? Yeah. No, was it the 5th? I'm sorry, it was the 5th that it dropped?
This
5/2. May 2nd it dropped.
Okay.
I saw more harassers than I've ever seen before in my life on the day that patch dropped. And slowly they've been disappearing.
Well, we have a prediction about the Harasser.
Yeah, go for it.
But I want to first talk about kind of some things, like which I'll talk about later. I was on some Squad Beacon action, and we talked about the Harasser there. But a lot of people are kind of liking the driver-gunner aspect of it, which is, I think, a few people who are organized in outfits and not just normal public players. And so I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with the Harasser, because even though it's fast and fun now, it's going to be like, all right, well, I'm done being fun. Like, let's pick a vehicle that's useful. And you're like, well, I can have a Prowler or a Vanguard, which also can have a halberd on top that someone can sit in. I don't really move that much slower. Like, yes.
Well, let's take a step back. I could just I can get a flash.
Or that, yeah.
And I can gun my flash as long as I have a gun for it.
Yeah, it's not as good. Well, I'm like, my main thing is like, yes, and theoretically the Harasser can go 100. But how often are you sitting there going 100 kilometers per hour and never hitting a bump or having to make a turn that slows you down? Like, you really, effectively, you don't move that much faster than a tank. Like, next time, pay attention when you're like riding along with a tank column, trying to avoid the tanks. You don't really get to the destination that much quicker than they do. And I think that people are going to kind of like feel that it's fun for now, but it's going to, I'm giving it 2 weeks. I think that's what we decided on.
I gave it a month. I know you gave it 2 weeks. I said a month, and then we won't see many of them on the
I'm going to up it a bit to 3 weeks, but I'm agreeing. Yeah, we're not going to see many after that because people are going to be like, I can't do anything as a driver. Whereas a tank, they can have a gunner. Yeah, the one fewer people, but they have cannons that are awesome. So, I mean, I really like the Harasser. I like it, but I think it's something that is better in theory when you have the main battle tanks that have a driver-gunner situation rather than driver gun at the same job.
And I've said the same thing to you a few times now that I am kind of worried about the Thresher now. I've been gung-ho waiting for the Thresher to come out, and I'm afraid that if it's too much like the Harasser, that it's going to have the same fate. It's just going to be such a niche vehicle that we're not going to see many of them on the field after a while. And I mean, I'm still frantically saving up all my certs so I can have a pretty much maxed out Harasser the day they drop, but I'm kind of worried.
I think it's going. I think they're good. They have a very niche role, like you said. But I think that niche role is primarily outfits. You're definitely not going to see public players using it because public players aren't going to drive around other public players. Let's be serious.
No, I agree completely.
So
I don't want to drive around public players.
And this is the other thing, is you basically have to have a max in the back. Like, if you don't have a max or at least a heavy in the back seat, you're wasting that seat.
Yeah, one thing that I could see happening to make them better is to up the driver experience that you receive. I think that...
Oh, so the driver feels like driving around.
So the driver feels like driving
around.
around and doing other things, because really that's all they're going to be doing is driving around. But if you can up the experience that they receive when their gunner or rumble seat passenger does something, that will make the harasser and the future Empire-specific buggies stay in the game longer. So I would not be surprised if at some point in the future that's revisited.
That would be a good idea. Since I noticed we don't have known bugs in here, it is a known bug that if you're like in the Max in the back seat and you shoot your new rocket launchers, you're gonna like...
Yeah, you'll damage your buggy.
If the buggy's traveling backwards, you're gonna hit the buggy. So, just
beware.
Yeah, beware of that.
Yeah, if you're firing away and you notice that your buggy's taking damage, slow down. Stop firing.
Well, it's because they're driving backwards and you're shooting. Not a good idea.
All right.
And you can shoot the passenger in the back of the head with the guns. Which everyone's like, if you're aiming down and shooting, you can hit your passenger. I was like, well, then don't shoot.
Yeah,
like,
don't shoot your passenger.
But anyways.
All right, well, let's talk about the general tank armor changes, because when I read this, I kind of glossed over it at first, and I realized that this is actually kind of a big deal. So, in general, the Game Update 8 changes will allow tanks to sustain one more anti-tank round to the front and sides, and about 1.5 to 2 more tank rounds to the rear. Armor certifications that they list in the patch notes are listed as decreasing, so that this is able to keep them to absorb roughly 1 additional anti-tank round to that side. They also smoothed out some unnecessary inconsistencies between the tanks. So you're going to be able to last in a tank-to-tank battle longer with these tank armor changes. And I think it's very interesting that they made this change.
Did you drive a tank this weekend?
I did drive a tank this weekend, and my Mag Rider survived exponentially longer, and I couldn't figure out why until I read this.
See, I feel like I drove my Vanguard, and I don't feel like I lasted exponentially longer at all.
No.
Because there were so many Maxes launching the weapon I should not mention at me that I did not last more than 30 seconds.
Well, the only reason my Mag Rider died is because I took an entire LOL rocket pod in the rear. There's not much you can do about that.
No. So, yeah, so they made some other changes.
Yeah, so let's talk about the counter to this additional armor.
Which, this armor kind of makes it like, okay, I can see, because it's making the AP round useful now.
And I'm happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. The AP round was kind of like, why the hell would I use this?
No one used it. I mean,
all my blast radius for nothing.
Playing with Imperial Reach, when we rolled our Prowlers, no one took anything except for heat, because why?
Yeah. So there's a new resist type that has been created for tank busting caliber chain guns. Oh, this is the chain guns first.
Right.
Also the AP rockets, but this makes these weapons nearly effective as they were before the armor increases. So basically, it's keeping them the same, but these armor increases are now making the heat less effective in the HE. So this is keeping it so much. If you're using those, you're still going to feel the same way. And
they are.
I think this is fantastic. Same exact way with the armor piercing rounds.
No, what are those guns?
The guns. Sorry, thank you. The Shredder and the Tank Buster. These are the Liberator ones, correct?
Yes, they are.
Sorry, and then moving onward, the same exact thing with the Lightning L100 Python AP, the Mag Rider Supernova FPC, the Vanguard Titan 150 AP, the Prowler P2 120 AP, the Phalanx Spear AV turret, the Liberator C150 Dalton. All still have this. So I think that's really cool. And I really hope to see that AP rounds are now useful, making it a little easier as an infantry to kind of fight these things off sometimes too.
That's true. That's one side that a lot of people might not realize, is that some of these tanks are going to be rolling AP rounds now, and maybe they won't one-shot you so easily because they've got to worry about dealing with other tanks.
I'm just going to go ahead and assume that an AP round hits a max, it kind of rips it too.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does.
Because there's some max changes they made, too.
Yeah. So, just to run down those quickly, they improved the Max's flak armor. The explosion resist is now increased by 10% each tier. The kinetic armor was also increased. It now increases the default light projectile resistance by another 1.5% each tier. They also updated the Nano Armor Accelerator and renamed it the Nanite Auto Repair System for the max unit. So just some small max changes to make them more impervious to explosions and not take as much damage from basically light projectiles. And I noticed this when I was running around in my burster over the weekend. Infantry were not killing me as quickly as they had in the past.
So you use the kinetic armor?
I use the kinetic armor.
I'm a flak armor user.
I was too, but when I'm running a burster, it's better to have what always kills me as a burster
is infantry.
Is an infantry sneaking up behind me and shooting me in the back.
That's I never thought about that, but that's a really good point.
It's always a light assault trying to kill me. Now, granted, a lot of them use
get
C4.
Taken out by the C4, right?
Yeah, a lot of them use C4, but
which the flak armor is good for.
Which the flak armor is good for, yeah. So when you come across people who don't have C4, the kinetic armor has been working well for me this weekend.
Nice. That's good.
Now we also have some infantry weapon changes. So the majority of them were adjusted to better even out the performance of the different types. So assault rifles, carbines, and small magazine light machine guns had their equip speeds and reload times tuned. This was to allow them to be more competitive with the larger magazine LMGs. Boo. The short-range assault rifles and carbines are being reduced in effectiveness at long range. Long-range weapons are being increased in effectiveness through individual weapon tuning and related attachment changes. And finally, burst variants are now more accurate. So I know it's a lot of different stuff in there. I know we went over a lot of this stuff last show, so we're not going to rehash too much of it.
Can I say, though, that the LMG kind of nerf, the indirect nerf because of the forward grip?
Yes, which
I thought was just going to amount in just massive amounts of tiers, because isn't it something like 50% of the people or some ridiculous amount of percentage played heavy?
Yeah. And plus every NC has a forward grip.
Yeah, people really like this change.
We're actually going to get into the forward grips in the weapon attachment changes section that you have coming up.
Oh, God, sorry, yeah. But I got ahead of myself because all the team speaks that I was on, the two channels, everyone was talking about how awesome the new assault rifle changes are. And carbine changes. They're really loving those guns again, and I do too.
Well, we also have some other miscellaneous weapon changes. So they increased the hold breath time by 1 second when looking through a 6x or higher scope.
Which your infiltrator now smokes one less pack of cigarettes.
One less pack of cigs, yeah. All rocket launchers now have a short delay between ammo pickups from engineer ammunition packs. Honestly, I haven't noticed the delay. I don't know about you.
No.
All shotguns with a 20-meter max range had that max range reduced to 18 meters, so maybe a little less getting shot across the map by a shotgun. And finally, they fixed the bug that caused pumped action shotguns to start their chamber timer early. That's kind of a big bug when you really think about it. If they're chambering that shot earlier than they're supposed to, they're getting that shot off faster than they're supposed to.
Well, right, because you can fire it while the middle of reloading. So if you just spam your mouse button, you're going to shoot it off quicker.
Yes. So I'm glad that they caught that and corrected that. But let's get into these weapon attachment changes, because I know you're dying to talk about forward grips.
God, yes, forward grips. The compensator increased vertical recoil reduction on all weapons. So that's really cool and good. The suppressor had some changes for carbines. These now slow the projectile speed by 35% instead of 40%. SMGs now slow the projectile speed by 20%, increase from 18%. Velocity ammunition. Oh, this is high velocity ammunition, correct?
Yes.
Velocity increase from this type was increased to the majority of weapon types. The benefit given differs per weapon.
I'm going to have to start using the velocity ammo a little bit more. I used it for a while and then I took it off because I just didn't see a difference. But I'm going to have to throw it back on my SVA-88 now.
Yes, it's pretty nice. I've been using it. The forward grips, the LMG forward grips, no longer produce vertical recoil. And this is what I thought would cause endless tears, because everyone loves their T9 Carve and their Gauss Saw, but
their SVA-88.
people were like, oh, it's harder, but no one was like royally pissed off, so that's pretty cool. Community betrayed my beliefs of them. And weapons with direction recoil will now lean more towards center when the foregrip is attached, which I definitely noticed when just doing my wall shooting to see the patterns, because they said they were going to, make it a little more predictable. The maximum horizontal recoil cap is now lowered when a grip is attached, and all 4 grips have an equip penalty. So I really like this one, but it ranges from 20 milliseconds to 150 milliseconds depending on the weapon, which long-range weapons and weapons with innate slow equip speeds being paralyzed less in general, but it drops that switch time, and that's really nice. And so, for example, fast equipping 50-round LMGs will drop the equip speed of 75-round LMGs. Drop to the equip speed of 75-round LMGs. My goodness.
It's a mouthful.
I know.
Yeah, see, I think we thought that the first thing, the forward grips no longer reducing vertical recoil, was probably going to be it. But I think all these additional changes made up for that lack of reduction.
Well, no, I mean, the slowing down thing is also a bad thing.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about the directional recoil and the horizontal recoil cap, which is now lower.
This is true. The directional part does... I mean, the guns are a lot more predictable to shoot now, so I really, really like this. So yeah, but the speed, I thought people would cry about it more than they did.
Yeah.
And they proved me wrong, but I'm happy too, so I'm not upset that I was proven wrong. I'll take my fault.
I've been using my lasher more anyway, so.
Oh, because they changed the way it looks, didn't they?
Yeah, they had changed the look, and I love it now. The Velociraptor lasher. All right. Next up, grenade and smoke launchers now have a 4-second delay between ammo pickups from engineer ammo packs. 6x scopes all now have weapon sway.
Yeah, that's awesome. Sorry.
Next up, there were a ton of specific weapon changes, and honestly, there were 21 NC weapons changed, 22 TR, and 20 VS weapons changed. Most likely your favorite weapon, unless it was an NS weapon, was changed. So we do not have the showtime to go through every single weapon that got changed. So please check the link for your specifics if you need to see if your weapon was specifically changed. It's just too many of them for us to go over.
And if there's a weapon you didn't like, try it out.
Yes, because more than likely it got changed.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, some bug fixes. Hitting warp on a continent on the warp gate map should now put you in the queue more reliably when the continents are heavily loaded.
Yes, and along with that, something I noticed that I didn't see in the patch notes is that it's the same way with squad deploy. If you hit squad deploy on a full continent, you just get stuck in the queue now.
Oh, good. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
But that's only if you're on another continent.
Rather than just not working, it sticks you in the queue now.
But that's only if you're on another continent.
Well, yeah, right.
Right.
I mean, if you're on the same continent,
it'll
why
work,
does it
work
stick
immediately.
You in the queue?
Yeah, I noticed this immediately when I started playing, that every time I hit the warp button, it always put me in the queue.
Yeah.
Or instantly warped me. There was never that issue of clicking on that stupid warp button to try and get it to work.
Oh, when can I go there? Please
Yeah,
tell
exactly.
me.
Next up, squad deploy and instant action can no longer be utilized as a max. It now gives you, squad deploy actually now gives you the option of deploying as a different class. And the final bug fix, which it's too bad Torque isn't here because this is his baby. Bouncing Betties and proximity mines now have attached lights that will allow aware players to spot and avoid them.
You know what, though? I feel like I haven't seen these lights.
No?
But I feel like they're just rendering better in general since this patch.
Hopefully Torx listens to this show and does a little dance in his seat when he hears that. Because he's been asking for that for, what, 6 months?
Well, it's just not fair that the TR the stupid green lasers.
Yeah. And they're so obvious, too.
Serious. It's like, green lasers, oh, guess what's behind this wall?
All right, and to wrap up Game Update 08, there were also a bunch of UI updates, but the one that we pulled out as the most important one is that colors can now be assigned per entity rather than via a global color setting. So what this means is it now allows players to apply color presets to UI elements that represent players, nameplates, minimap indicators, vehicle indicators, etc., separate from facilities, basically everything else, objective maps, regions, terminal indicators, etc. So now you can change every color on the UI.
You know what? That's not totally. I mean, you're making so. I just realized we talked about this in Squad Beacon, and I don't want to say I'll talk about it then because I'll forget.
Okay.
But something that Hama talked to Higby about was the design, like, so the terminals and the like little A site, B site type of red boxes or blue boxes or whatever are linked to the map colors, not the player colors. So if you have friendly versus enemy on the players, they're red, but their little like A site will still be purple if they're Vanu, right? Or whatever you make it. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Those are linked to the map, the like map things, the terminals, the capture points, and all that stuff. And something Hama asked was, are they going to make that customizable friend versus foe too? Because he made it friends versus foe, and then the whole map was just red. And it was kind of funny because he was like, oh, the whole map's red, the TR are winning. And I was like, it didn't clue you off when you were in the NC warp gate, but that was pretty funny. But
all I know is that I was
that's
pretty
something
happy.
They did say they would probably try and get to.
I was happy with it because I noticed that everything went back to it all reset for me to friendly and enemy colors. So now when I'm running around as VS, all my stuff's purple again.
Yeah, I like the change. I think it's really good. But
yeah. Well, there was also another hotfix that same night, which was really just thrown in to correct some bugs and exploits that were introduced in Game Update 08. Nothing terribly major that we need to go over, but there was a second hotfix after the same day as Game Update 08 dropped.
Yeah, we didn't write anything in the notes.
Yeah, there was a couple of things, like somebody was using an exploit to spawn a Sunderer when they shouldn't have, and stuff like that, you know. All little things that they caught and quickly corrected. I know there were also some complaints about, I think it was Briggs was down far too long. Yeah, the Briggs server was down longer than any other server, and that's an ongoing complaint with all these hot fixes, but something that the devs are aware of.
Did you hear me clap? I'm sorry.
I did.
The Blues just scored.
Oh.
Yeah!
Well, my Bruins already won, so I'm not watching the game.
All right, so I'm not too distracted.
All right, should we go on to community briefing?
Attention, soldiers! Get your butts in here for this week's community briefing.
All right, Friday Night Ops! Woo! All right, Friday Night Ops. Every Friday with Jimmy and Maggie, except Jimmy wasn't there. It was Clegg this week.
Why wasn't Jimmy
played
there?
With an outfit whose name I forgot to write down because I'm a fool.
Didn't they do a air battle between two outfits?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the outfit portion of it.
Oh,
they played with Army of the Republic and Trident.
They did a Cobalt air battle.
So, my apologies, Army of the Republic and Trident, if any of you guys are listeners. It's not that I don't like you guys.
He just doesn't like you.
And always forget to write down who plays.
So why wasn't Jimmy there? Did they not say?
Pay attention to that either. I got right to the meat of F&O.
You had one job.
I totally skipped so much of it. I'm so sorry.
One job, Knox.
I listened to the whole interview. I didn't skip to the interview. It was actually a really good interview.
Well, who did they interview this week?
They interviewed John Weathers, senior designer. He plays NC.
Of course he does.
Like a boss. So what he does is UI and systems design and overviews of he overviews all of the UI aspects of the game. He has minions apparently too. So some questions he was asked. The algorithm that chooses the alert. And he goes, I can't tell you, but it involves population and territory control.
It's a secret.
Like you didn't know that. Oh, well, they don't want it to be... If
No,
they
of
told
course
us,
not. Because then people wouldn't manipulate it.
Imagine what, like, Devil Dogs or, like, TRG combined with TXR would do. They'd just be like, all right, time to make it go to Indar or something stupid like that and figure out how to do it. So that's what it does. Which I was like, well, clearly it doesn't look for the continent that's the most even, because this weekend when I was on an Amarish alert, the TR had 80% in the continent when we went over there. So I don't know what that territory control aspect of it is. It must be fairly low on the thing. So, further questions. How will player-generated missions look on the UI? That's still in mock-up and design, so there's not too much UI aspects of it done, but they kind of have some ideas on paper, but it will change, so he didn't want to talk about it. Are they going to add smaller alerts? So, like, capturing a single territory within 5 minutes or something. And he said probably not. They don't want an entire server trying to capture a base, like our favorite base, Ceres Hydroponics, in a 5-minute span. It might kill the server. And Higby made an appearance.
Oh, he made an appearance from what I hear.
Couple times. I'm not going to say any more. Watch it yourself. The interview starts at about an hour 47 or so. So, they also... All right. So, they do want to make some alerts that are global, as in... Alerts are a popular topic of this interview. Basically, they want alerts that aren't just go attack this continent, go attack that continent, and then cause people to get stuck in queues. So they're going to make some global alerts that are anyone playing the game at that time can participate in. They had some pretty cool ideas. One of the ones he talked about was having, like, kill these many people with carbines, kill this many people with tanks, kill this many people with C4, and, like, this whole list of basically achievements. And the first empire to complete that list of achievements wins the alert. Some other ones they talked about too were like capturing all biolabs, and whoever has the most biolabs gets like the biggest percentage of experience, etc. So kind of like not specifically one continent, which is kind of cool. They really have some other ideas here too. One of the ideas is bringing the rabbit back,
which I was excited about.
And so I learned what the rabbit is, and basically it's like an object that deploys or spawns, and you have to capture it and take it back to your warp gate. And one of the ideas behind this, and he said based on population they may spawn several so that it's not too crazy around one of them. But one thing that I think, or that I think was pretty good that he talked about was whoever had the rabbit would have to run back to the warp gate.
Can you imagine on Amarish trying to run back to your warp gate?
God, that'd be insane. Yes, the Blues scored again! All right, I'm watching out of the corner of my eye, and this is like the greatest thing ever. So, yes, the rabbit, which I think sounds really cool, like a lot of a fun minigame. And he also said they have a lot of other really cool different ideas that are on paper. That he said they have about a dozen more written down on paper that they want to eventually get to. So, yes, I like this. This is going to be sort of that metagame stuff that people want, which is really good. And, mini events like capturing a rabbit make it, not the same monotonous go capture this base, then go capture that base, and so forth, which can be a little boring. Let's be serious. So, can they... Let's continue on. Some people want the in-game clock so they can see how long before it's night or daytime, and he said it's in the backlog, but it kind of fell off the radar because there's more important things to work on.
That was really important for me a few weeks ago when I was trying to get a screenshot of a dark nighttime for my background.
When will it be nighttime?
Because I took a picture of Amarish and threw the Mag Rider view screen onto it so it could be my background, and I kept logging in and out of the game for a few hours waiting for it to be nighttime so I could get a nighttime shot, because the darker background's better.
Oh,
so I really would have liked this a few weeks ago.
Well, you're not getting it, and no one will get it anytime soon because there's more important things to do. So, So they also asked about increasing server resources for the continents that have alerts, so more players can log onto those continents. And he said, no, they're at their cap. That's why they want to create more global alerts. So, yes. He also heavily not just uses, but relies on Reddit and the forums. He says on one monitor, he will generally have the forums or Reddit open, and he relies on these mock-ups that players make. UI mock-ups on how to make things look. So when they have an idea of what they want something to look like, and they make a mock-up, he relies on this stuff. And he really appreciates everyone's effort that does that. And he said thank you to everyone. So continue doing that stuff if you guys like doing it, because it's definitely used by him at least. So
I think that's cool that he specifically mentioned that.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, a question was asked. I mean, he didn't just like bring it up out of nowhere, but he really
admitted it.
very, I almost want to say like passionate about it. And then at the end, he did say to make sure to keep doing that stuff without a question being asked. So yes, he does. And then the last question was customizable UI. Well, so dragging the minimap around, dragging the chat box, et cetera, and placing these things where you want. And it's on their backlog. He wants to get to it, but, you know, more important things that affect gameplay rather than prettiness. So, yeah. That is F&O this week.
There was no content session again?
No content session. They did the dev Q&A, and I kind of skipped through it. Clegg was talking about how he used to be on the level design. It was like stuff I already knew.
I was more wondering if they were actually doing some content, because they keep promising that eventually they're going to get to Hassan and stuff like that. So
I know but they have to get approval.
Yeah, I know they do. Of course they do.
The execs. Clegg did say that it's very hard to change the bigger bases. So if they because he was working on an idea to change the biolab around a bit. And he said basically when you change one biolab, you're not just changing that one biolab, you're changing many biolabs. Like even though sometimes they have doors open and closed in different spots, the general shape of it, I guess, and then other biolabs kind of all are similar to each other. But yeah, you can't just change one, it's going to change other things too. So it kind of explained that, you know, they can't just like move, and it just totally changes the game. So they don't want to willy-nilly like change a tech plant and make it bad without a lot of testing done. So
that makes sense. Okay, well, let's move on to the next topic. Next up was I guess it was a surprise that most people got in their email boxes on Friday.
A pleasant one?
Yeah, for most people, I believe it was a pleasant one. It was the Loyal Soldier program that they dropped out. So for most people, it was a brand new full free camo set for all three factions. I guess not at first, but ultimately it's for all three factions. Anybody who had...
It wasn't at first?
Yeah, at first it was only being awarded to certain... whichever one you logged in first would be the one that got it, and none of your other ones would get it, but that was quickly fixed. Next up, a lot of people got a free premium membership from May 3rd to June 1st. And those were the people that either subscribed at one point or purchased things with Station Cash and did not have a current membership.
Basically gave SOE money.
Anybody who gave SOE money but was not a current premium member got a free month membership in addition to the full camo set.
Here's a question I have. So if these players are getting the 50% bonus, which is what I heard they get, if they subscribe after this is over, will they continue to get that same 50% bonus rather than have to tier up month by month? Because as anyone knows, if you go month by month, you start at 25 and go up 5% every month to that 50%, unless you buy the 6 months straight up or the year. So that's what I wonder, is if this is, and if they do, I would kind of like them to say, yes, that's how it is, because it's going to really give people good information to help them make money.
Mm. But here's a question for you. First of all, they are starting with a 50% right off the bat. But I would imagine that since it's a I guess we should talk about the Loyal Soldier plan that they came out with. They're offering until June 1st a 3-month recurring membership at $9.99 per month. So a little less than $30, you can get a 3-month membership to Planetside.
3 pennies less.
A little less. It's not. A little less than $30, but
it's $30.
I would imagine that those people automatically get started off at whatever the 3-month rate is, right?
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's what I would imagine. I mean, granted, we're just speculating here.
I would imagine if they bought 3, wouldn't that start at like
35%?
35, yeah.
So if I had to guess, they're probably getting in at 35%.
But if they're continuing from this 50,
yeah, they drop down to 35%. Unfortunately, this is a question we need to ask the devs.
All right, Maggie, you're a big tweeter, and I know you listen. Tell us, do they get 50% if they continue? Because you'll get more money.
They will get more money if they do get 50%.
Yeah, if you stay at that 50%, I think that's pretty big encouragement.
Mm. Now, the final portion...
Want to talk about the drama involved in this on the forums?
Not yet. First of all, we want to talk that everybody also got a Loyal Soldier title. And I don't think a lot of people even realize that.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if you go into your titles, you will have a Loyal Soldier title.
Sweet. I can show off that I am awesome.
Well...
Every outfit I'm in says no titles.
Yeah, mine. Never what I'm into. No titles.
Turn your titles off. Oh, God.
Well, you're going to talk about the controversy, but I think there was controversy during the Squad Beacon, correct?
Well, no. I mean, they talked about it there, but this is all over the forums. And while we're on this topic, why not? Is people are pissed about this. Well, first off, because this also leads to a funny story. So first off, people are mad, really mad, that they didn't get their camo set that other players did, even though they've been playing the game since it was released, not realizing that it's only for people who gave Sony money. And I'm like, too bad for you. You can't just game for free.
You're just playing the game for free. I mean,
exactly.
Why should you be rewarded for doing nothing?
All you have to do is give them $15, which is a fraction of a full title game, and you would have gotten it. But you're too cheap. So
is it even 15? What's the lowest amount of station cash you can purchase in their store? $5?
Oh, 5, yeah. During Triple Station Cash, you could have spent $5. And if you've been playing since the start of the game, you had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, but too bad to those people. They can continue to cry that river.
I agree 100% there.
But this reminds me of a story. I mean, this is the same type of person. I'll make it really quick. There's a game development company that made a game called Game Developer Tycoon, I think, something to that extent. And they released a pirated version of their own game. And only in that pirated version, this would happen, is you'd make your game, it'd be really good, and then people in the simulation would start pirating it, and your company would go out of business. It's only if you steal the game from that torrent that this happened. If you purchase the game legally, that wasn't an aspect of the game. And so the forums just blew up. The game company's forums just blew up. Like, how do I beat this game? This is ridiculous. There has to be a way to do this. I don't understand it. It doesn't matter how good my game is or what I do. Is there a way to do DRM? Blah, 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 blah. Not realizing that the company totally set them up. So epic.
I did see the screenshot of that with the secretary that says that, right?
Yeah. I imagine the same type of person as this. God. Kings just scored, son of a... Anyways, so, yeah.
But we did have the other side of the coin, though. The people who... People got a free membership, but if you're a current subscriber, you did not get a month.
Subscriber, you don't get that free month tacked onto your subscription. So, and, I fully agree with people being upset about that. I think they should get a free month. They've already committed. Why should they not get it? Mm-hmm. Man, they're giving more money than anybody else, if you ask me.
I'm kind of on the same page on that one as well. Sorry, we don't have a dissent on this one. I'm sorry, guys. So basically, if you didn't spend any money, boo-hoo. But if you're a premium membership, we feel bad for you.
Yeah.
So put your Loyal Soldier title on and shut your mouth. Next.
Next, Planetside Universe Squad Beacon with special guest Matt Higby. Higby was a special guest. He ate a burrito, and it was a good burrito, too.
I missed that. I was there for a little while. I saw about half this.
He just, interrupted the stream with his burrito wrapper when he was throwing it away. But, yeah, so there was a fellow named Basti, Robo CPF, and Roy Awesome, and myself were all some guests, too, and it was pretty fun talking to them, talking to Higby. We did discuss the controversy of the Loyal Soldier bonus, like I just talked about. We also talked about Game Update 8 and what we all thought about it, which is basically what Derringer and I just talked about as well, so I'm going to skip right on through that. But then we talked about Lattice, and Higby asked us what we thought, and we provided some input on that, and I hadn't seen or played on the Lattice system until that day. I logged in 2 hours beforehand.
You even said so.
Yeah.
You said I played 2 minutes of it.
I did. I looked at it. I spent more time studying it than anything. But anyone who listens to this show knows I've been against Lattice. I don't like the, all right, now you get to go here type of aspect of the game. I think it's boring. It's rush. I hate rush gameplay. That's my least favorite aspect of Battlefield 3. But these are called rush lanes, as Higby called them. But basically, you're getting more options than just straightforward towards your one destination that you could go to. And I think it looks pretty good. And we had some really good discussion involving that. I don't know how to say it without getting too into it. But Higby and all of them are very cognizant of the problems that can occur if they don't do this correctly, which is why they've been talking about it for so long and not releasing it. They want to make sure it's right. They don't want to ruin it. And it's only going to be done on Indar at first as well.
Which I don't like.
I kind of wonder because, if it's really good, I wish they'd do it on Amerish first.
Yeah, get people off Indar.
It's not played, and now people are going to be like, let's try out the new Lattice system, even though we're same continent.
I think it should be released all at once or delayed until it can be all released at once. I think releasing it on a single continent is not a good idea. Release it on a single continent on a test realm, sure.
See, I don't mind the single continent aspect of it because it does get them a more real view of whether it was done correctly or not. And then they can roll it back and not have a problem with the other continents and totally ruin the game. But I don't want them to put on Indar, but I see why, because it's already where everyone plays. And the reason they want it on one continent live is so that people use it, more people than they ever get in the test realms. I think the most they've ever gotten in the test realms is 500 or so. So it's not really been enough to truly test the system.
Well, give away free station cash and get people on the test realm.
Walk into the test realm and get 100 station cash.
Yeah, get 100 station cash. Get 250 so you can buy a camo on sale. Honestly, everybody who just got a free camo or a free premium membership should go download the test server right now and go help them out. You just got something for free, dudes.
It does help them out.
Come on. Stop being freeloaders.
Anyway.
That should have been tacked onto the end of the email. It should have been like, well, now that we gave you all this, get your asses to the test realm.
That'd have been good. So, moving on. Higby, I asked Higby if they have plans around weapons like the Comet, Pounder, and Falcon, given the new AV Max weapons and how good they are. And he said no, and that, in fact, their DPS is actually higher, and kind of shoved it back in my face. Which inspired me to do some research labs in a little bit, which I'll talk about. And, yeah. But anyways, so he said they actually are more DPS, they're just focused on close-range situations versus long-range situations. So, that's your information for that. Now, he also gave us some really good insight on Hassan and the Interlink facility.
Which I missed, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I was like, so I was like, but it's not happening. There was like, oh yeah, it's coming soon. He said soon. And I was like, yeah, but
soon, TM.
It's like 3 months. I remember you guys said it was going to be 4 months from now.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what I was talking about. And I almost was like, I'm going to pull up the patch notes right now where you said it.
We talk about patch notes every week. We know what we're talking about.
Titled that episode, "If You Want to Live in a Swamp, Move to Florida," or something.
Yes, we did. That was one of my better titles.
It was a good title. No, but basically what it sounded like is the interlink facility is the biggest part of why Hassan is slow. And also part of that is the interlink facility is going to be put into the existing continents so that they're all together. So we're going to have interlink facilities on Indar. So I imagine that's part of the big problem too, is placing those. If they're going to release Hassan, the interlink facility is coming with it. It's also going to be in Indar, Amarish, and Esamir. So I imagine most of the work, they said most of the work is getting mechanics around the interlink facility worked out. So I imagine they have a pretty cool mechanic based on some of the ideas that have been in the forums for that roadmap idea, which have been some really cool, but very complex in terms of implementation, I imagine. So they've been working on it.
Actually, if you go to the Planetside Universe website, there are actually some data mined pictures of the interlink facility there.
Oh, nice.
And they kind of look like a big satellite.
Okay.
I think that when I saw those pictures, and I encourage all our listeners to go check those out, planetside-universe.com.
Maybe we'll post a link.
Maybe we will. Well, we'll post a link to the Squad Beacon, and it's right on the main page of their site. But looking at them, like I said, they kind of look like satellites. I would love to have them at prime time on a Friday or Saturday. Just have them crash from space onto each of the planets, onto each of the continents.
But yeah,
and just take out everybody it lands on.
Yeah. I was really worried for a while that they were not going to put them on the old continents. And I'm really happy that they are going to do that. So, yeah. That was Squad Beacon. It was a lot of fun, and I would expect that one or more of the ReachCast hosts ends up on that in the future as well.
Yeah, well, this one was on a Saturday afternoon, which unfortunately for me is not the best time. And I told Hama about that beforehand. I said, I'd love to be there, but I just can't commit on a Saturday afternoon. If you catch me at night, I can do it.
Oh, and Hama also does not expect the next one to be until late July.
Oh.
Or August.
Jeez, so that's pushing it to SW Live.
He's super busy, yeah.
Well, let's wrap up the community briefing with our community question of the week. So last week we asked, do you think Luma Fiber is a tactical disadvantage to dogfighting? So immediately everybody piled on and slapped me around and said, hey, jerkface, you can turn Luma Fiber off via the L key. So that's a pro tip for everybody. If you didn't know, you can turn your Luma Fiber on and off via your L key.
Now, how does that work on the Harasser, which also has headlights?
I assume it turns on the Luma Fiber and your headlights.
But does that mean you have to have your headlights on if you want your Luma Fiber on?
Sounds like it.
Oh, man. Tough love.
Yeah. So, of all the places we posted this, the Planetside Universe thread had the best discussion regarding the topic, and basically everyone agreed that it really serves no tactical advantage because of the low render distance and its ability to be turned off.
I said.
Yeah, no, you were absolutely right. And most people said that they weren't tracking enemy fighters by Luma Fiber, but actually by their the contrails off of their wingtips.
Oh, there you go.
So, but
that's
everyone,
I'm a bad pilot.
Everyone did agree that it looks badass.
Oh, it totally does.
I just wish it wasn't 700 station cache.
I know, right? And I wish it was cross-faction, but it's not.
Yeah, that too.
I think it's a little annoying, but anyways.
Well, next week's community question, this is a Nox special for everybody. Do you think the new Max anti-vehicle weapons make the old ones useless? As with every other week's community question, we will post this on the Planetside forums, we'll post it on Reddit, and we will post it on the Planetside Universe forums for you all to comment on them as well.
And keep listening, because in just a few moments you'll get data to help your decision.
That's right. Next up is the ReachCast Community Clash.
Prepare yourselves! This is the ReachCast Community Clash.
All right, ReachCast Community Clash. I'm sorry, everyone. Last week we had no Community Clash because Nox was puppy training, Torx was in Vegas, and I didn't feel like doing it all by myself. But this week, as promised, we will have a new Community Clash. I will actually be playing with the Das Anfil, a VS outfit on the Matherson server. So don't forget to wear your purple and show up this Thursday, 9 Eastern. What did you say?
Das Anfall?
Das Anfall.
Are they German?
No, they're not.
The Deutsch?
No, actually, Quattro, do you remember? He's the one who actually wrote the story that I read about the infiltrator, nobody looking up.
Oh, yeah.
That is actually his outfit, and he has invited me to come play with them.
Excellent.
So I am looking forward to that.
I'll be late.
Yeah, I know you will. So on to the ReachCast Research Labs.
I thought I would combine a little of this with a little bit of this. Yes. I'm going to create the ultimate formula.
Please equip your personal shield unit before entering the ReachCast Research Labs.
All right, ReachCast Research Labs. I did some AV, anti-vehicle max testing, because I took Higby's challenge. And
because basically you want to know if Higby is lying to you.
yeah, essentially. Well, I wanted to see. I didn't think he would lie to me. I just wanted to see.
You're lying right now.
No. I didn't think he would lie to me. I just wanted to see how much different it was, because I didn't think it was that much different. Well, I did think he was lying to me about the TR one.
Let's find out.
All right, so the Comet. This is the original anti-vehicle max weapon for the Vanu, if you did not know. I shot these things against the side of a Sunderer and the back of a main battle tank, so just so you know where I'm shooting it. The Sunderer, I think, is the same all around. It doesn't matter where you hit it. So, but I was shooting the rear, the ass end of the main battle tanks. So the Comet Sunderer took 10 seconds to kill it, and it took 8 seconds to kill a main battle tank.
In the rear.
In the rear. Yes. We like giving battle tanks things in their rear. So, the Vortex...
Maybe you do.
The Vortex is the new AV weapon for the Sunderer. For the Max. For the Vanu.
Is your dog drinking in the background?
Yes, she is.
She's tanking away.
She's going to have to pee so bad in a few minutes. But
sorry.
So the Vortex, I did 2 tests of the Vortex because it has 2 options, charging it or not. And the charge to kill a Sunderer takes 17.8 seconds roughly. I did the lowest time. I did this multiple times. The lowest I got it actually was 17.5.
I was going to say, we should just round it up.
17 basically. It's a long time.
Yeah, 7 more seconds.
And the charge for the main battle tank in the rear is 13.5 seconds. Now, here's the interesting part. Unlike the Lancer, right? Lancer? Yeah. Unlike the Lancer, the burst kills it faster, significantly. The Vortex burst on the Sunder, so this is just boom, 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 firing every shot as fast as I can, not charging, 12 seconds. And on the main battle tank, 10.5. So compare that to 10 and 8, 12 and 10.5. Yes, it is indeed faster.
But still, it's so odd that the burst would go so much faster.
So this is why I think this is the case. Is the charge gives, hitting as hard as 3 bursts gives a significant advantage. Once you get used to that charge up time, if you know where a tank is positioned, you can hide behind something for the first 2 charges, pop out, hit it, pop back, let it charge back up, and you have significantly less time out in the open especially compared to the Raven, which I'll talk about in a second, and why I feel like it's kind of the worst. Despite the Raven killing faster than the Vortex Charge, I feel like it's the worst of the three against tanks. I think the Vortex Charge is much better, even though it takes longer, because you can hide, pop out, hit it, pop back, let it charge up, pop out, hit it, pop back. Like, it gives you reduced exposure. And the burst is still very good against the vehicles, and it's not like if you're charging it, you have to wait. You have to charge it. Like, say you hit it with your charge, and then, oh, it's almost dead. Bam, 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 kill it, like, super fast. So, I mean, a lot of people are underusing the Vortex from what I've noticed. The Comet is still very good. It doesn't have any bullet drop. So it hits really hard now, and you get 2 shots rather than 1.
Yeah, it's slow, though.
It is slow, so it's very hard to hit a moving target at distance, where the Vortex is basically point and click. So, I mean, but a lot of people are still using that Comet, and I think it's because really at a distance, you're finding yourself more in a situation where your max is, you're using that in a close quarters situation rather than a long range. I feel like.
All right, let's move on to NC.
So the Falcon is the old NC one, and the Sunder, killing a Sunder there took 10 seconds, and killing a main battle tank took 8.
So the exact same as the Comet.
Yep. And the Raven took, and it also behaves like the Comet. The move speed's roughly the same from what I could tell, and there's no drop from what I could tell either. So, yeah. It hits harder, but you reload only once every shot, if you didn't know. Anyways, the Raven is the new one that works similar to the AV turret, where you guide it, and they move extremely slow. But the Raven takes 10.8 seconds to kill, and 8.5 to kill a Sunder, and 8.5 to kill a main battle tank. 10.8 to kill a Sunder, 8.5 to kill a main battle tank. So barely.
Yeah, barely.
Like, barely better than a Falcon. But I think here, this is acceptable because the Raven, you have to stay pointed on the thing. So you're sitting there fully exposed to kill whatever you're shooting at. Even if you're fighting infantry, which 2 rockets kill an infantry if you hit him with both. But if you're sitting there, you can't even look around. Like, you're going to misguide your rockets. So it's really dangerous to use that thing, which is why I think it's probably the worst one mainly. Is you can't fire and leave. You have to fire and keep on that thing. So you might as well just keep firing until you kill it or until you're reloading. So I think the exposure really, really warrants that faster kill time than the Vortex. And it's also faster than the Fracture too. So, but it's not much. I mean, anyways, moving on. I think it's the worst of the... I really like it, but I think it's the worst one. The Pounder is the original TR one, and that kills a Sunder in 10.5 seconds. But it could be 10, just like the others. I mean, I figure that's so close. But it kills a Sunder in 10.5 seconds, but it killed the main battle tank. My fastest time I got it was 7.2 seconds to kill main battle tank from behind, which is pretty damn quick. So that... I mean, the Pounder definitely got a major buff compared to before, but it has major arc, so that's why it kills a bit faster on the main battle tank, because it has massive arc, whereas the others don't have drop. Now the Fracture, which is the new TR one, kills a Sunder in 11.3 seconds, so barely faster than the Pounder, and the main battle tank, and I got that in 7.2 seconds as well. So same time.
Yeah,
now
that's a little concerning.
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning because I think it's the easiest to use. It doesn't have hardly any recoil.
It's fire and forget.
Right. When you burst the Vortex, it's got a ton of recoil. You've got to pull down on the mouse. When you the Raven doesn't really have any, but like I said, you have to sit there exposed. But the Fracture, I mean, especially if these are being considered the long-range variants, like, having to sit there exposed, at long range is really bad for the Raven. And the Fracture, you just fire it and it goes, and you can move and do whatever you want after you fired, and it's still going to go where you shot it at, and it moves very quickly, so it's not too difficult to lead a target. Where it has arc, but very little. And I just think that it's significantly better than the Raven and the Comet and the Vortex, because the Vortex, yes, it's got its really good aspect, but it's got the negative to it. And even though, and the burst is right on target with the Fracture bursting on the Sunderer, on the main battle tank, it's significantly slower, 3 seconds. But I feel like the main problem I have with the Fracture is the Fracture versus the Pounder. Now, the Falcon versus the Raven, you have clear differences that make one option better than the other in a certain situation. Same with the Vortex and the Comet. If you're shooting at a Sunderer, it's probably deployed. You don't need to lead your target, so that slow travel time is fine. But now you have the Fracture, where it's just all around better. I mean, I will sacrifice that second it takes to kill the Sunderer to use the Fracture over the Pounder any day, to not have to deal with that massive amount of bullet drop that the Pounder suffers from. And it hits infantry too. It takes 4 canisters to hit infantry, but once you get used to the travel time, it's much like using any gun, any sniper rifle at range. So the Fracture, just to me, compared to the Raven and the Vortex, might in itself not be far better than those two, because those two each have their kind of advantages to make up for their disadvantage. The Fracture, whereas the Fracture you shoot and there's nothing you can do. If you miss, you miss. Whereas the Raven, you can guide it to your target if it moves. The Vortex is insta-shot, so it doesn't matter. But it's just so much better than the Pounder.
I'd like to do some more testing, though, on main battle tanks on all sides.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot longer on the front. So yeah, this is from behind where it's weakest. Maybe the front has a difference, like sort of an exponential difference. But I'll still, it's so much easier to use. I'm gonna hit with every shot with the Fracture. I'm not gonna hit with every shot with the Pounder unless it's right in my face.
Well, they are close combat, close range weapons. So
yeah, but when do you get 7 seconds behind a tank before it moves and drives you over?
No, you don't.
I think the Fracture is significantly better than the Pounder, and it's not that the Fracture is OP. It's just that the Pounder sucks. I mean, come on.
Let's not hold back.
It does. The bullet drop is massive. You have to lob that thing, and it's got a max range, essentially, whereas the others don't. Well, I don't know if they blow up after a while in the air. God, I'm making this take so long, but the Raven, it's something I did in the tests in the VR, is I turned my mouse sensitivity like all the way up, and massive on my DPIs, so I was spinning around crazy fast. And I was shooting out Raven rockets, and they're spinning around me, not hitting anything. Just spinning in a circle around me. And so my thought was maybe I could shoot a bunch out and then pick a target, and then they would all just go wham and hit it at once.
Maybe you can make an impenetrable shield.
Yeah, but
no one can ever see for you.
No one can approach me, because as soon as they get within range, those rockets hit them.
You fire them out and spin around. Come at me, bro.
No, really, the idea was kind of so back in Planetside 1 beta, you could use the max anti-air lock-on rocket. You could shoot 2 of them straight up in the air, lock onto your air target, fire the third, and all 3 would converge on the target at the same time.
Oh.
And it was way overpowered, and it's one of the reasons why I never subscribed to the game, but I was like, this, because I loved flying in that game, and it infuriated me. But, just for you, Derringer.
Thank you. Well, I think we've kind of...
Things blow up after a certain distance traveled, so you can't just spin with lots of rockets around you.
I think we've done the research labs to death. Should we move on to the good, the bad, and the OP?
Oh, I suppose so.
Have another drink on me, soldier.
Okay, thank you kindly.
If you can look hard enough past all the death and all the sorrow, there are good things. you must remember that we will overcome the good, the bad, and the overpowered.
I'm going to go first this week. My good is that my Vanu character is finally a higher battle rank than my Terran Republic character.
Congratulations.
Well, we did play TR.
It's about time, Mr. VS.
Yeah, we did play a long time as TR before I even started playing my Vanu character. But,
my NC is higher than both your characters, and it's still lower than my TR.
Yes, but you did have the premium membership a lot longer than me, so.
Did. Well, I'm just saying, I'm giving you trouble, but I'm just being the NC person.
Now, my bad for the week is that I feel that too many people were granted the premium membership due to the Loyal Soldier program, because what used to be only a minute wait to get on an alert continent has now jumped to 15 minutes. Because there's just so many more premium memberships that I actually have to wait in a queue now.
But Higby talked about this as Squad Beacon. It still is below 15%. He was like, ideally we'd love to have an 80-20, 80% free, 20% pay, but that's not the case.
Well, I'm telling you, before he put this in...
Your server has many more. I didn't notice that on Connery.
Last weekend, when I played all the alerts, there was no wait, and I got to every continent immediately. This weekend, on every alert, 15-minute wait to just get on the continent.
Wow.
I missed an alert because it took too long.
So that means Helios has fewer freeloaders than
Actually, this was on...
does.
I logged into my TR character on Waterson to collect certs.
Oh,
and
okay.
an alert was going on, and there were 16 minutes left in the alert. So I said, oh, well, I'll just sit out and get my...
The queue was 15 minutes.
Yeah, the queue was 15 minutes, and it ended up being longer than the alert. So the alert ended before I actually got on continent.
Well, their math was probably sitting there going, we know no one's going to leave at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's kind of my bad. And you're right, he did state that it's not as many people as you probably think, but still, I definitely noticed it.
Well, my point being is if you joined in the beginning of the alert, it probably wouldn't be that long because people are still going to quit.
Oh yeah.
Because it's 2 hours, whereas 15 minutes, you're like, oh, F it, let's keep playing for.
But this was just one of them. On all the alerts, I saw a wait.
So they're not going to
time.
Elude you into saying you're number one in queue, but you'll be in 30 seconds, and it turns out to be extended. It'd be really smart of their queuing program.
There was one I logged on, and there was still an hour 15 in the alert queue, and it was a 6-minute wait to get on continent.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I'm feeling the pain.
Yeah.
All you freeloaders. Get on the test server, freeloader.
Freeloaders aren't the ones with the free thing. They got.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Giving money.
That's right.
It's the freeloaders that are keeping it from being too bad. Thank the freeloaders.
Thank you, freeloaders. Now get on the test server.
So, the good I have for this week are the weapon changes. Like I talked about, the carbines, assault rifles. Everyone was talking about it. The AC-X11 is amazing now. I freaking love that gun. And yeah, it's awesome. It's so good now.
I don't even know which one that is.
It was good in theory back when I tried using it, but I just wasn't very effective with it. And it's the 20-round mega damage.
What class gets it?
Light assault and
light assault. Well, that's why I don't play light assault.
Is it? Oh, engineer. Sorry, I said medic. I'm an idiot. No, yeah, but it is. Oh, I've only been using it on my engineer because I've been playing a lot of engineer for some reason. Oh, like the AV turret. That's why. So my bad is I played too much this week and I was not productive. I played so much I forgot to do some other things. So
did you forget to shower? Oh no, you did. You played too much that you forgot to shower? Oh man.
I chose not to shower.
Oh man. Wow.
Yeah. I don't get that stinky.
Well, how would you know? All right, let's go on to the mailbag.
Oh, it's a perfect morning. Great timing, the mailman's just coming.
Morning. Here's the mail. Big bag. See you later.
must be in a hurry to get away. Very strange. What's the sneaking sound? Going to take a look here in this bag of mail. Oh no!
Now you just open the ReachCast mailbag.
All right.
Well, this week in the ReachCast mailbag, we had no calls again. And that's probably more because Torx controls the voicemail with an iron fist, even though I said I had access and I lied. But we do have some emails and some iTunes reviews this week that we wanted to go over. So I will start off with the iTunes review we got from an Oscar. And he just wrote, as a new player, I'm finding this podcast highly informative and entertaining, and keep up the good work. And thank you, Oscar. And continue to listen. And we will continue to produce this epic podcast.
Yes. And Philip, he wrote, headshot sound. I hate it. Far too loud and it's far too loud and grating and makes me feel like I've been smashed in the head rather than my avatar.
I do like how you elevated your voice for that one.
Philip, I hate it.
That's what he wrote too. I hate it.
Verbatim.
We also had an email from Soli. Soli is a good buddy of mine from Planetside 1 Days. He also had some comments regarding the headshot sound, and he wrote, TAW_Monsta had a good suggestion on Twitter. He wanted to make the giving and receiving sound different, as things can get pretty crazy on screen, so it is nice to have a non-visual indicator of what's happening. The sound itself is really grating to hear, though, especially on the receiving end. He also writes, honestly, I think Darklight has the best headshot sound cue I've heard in a game so far. Subtle, satisfying, and informative. Have you heard the Darklight sound? Nox.
No.
Neither have I.
I was typing something and was muted because my keyboard's crazy loud. Dude, I wonder if this guy is Taw from The Art of Warfare.
I don't know. Wouldn't that be T-A-O-W?
Well, so there's... Man. Back in my Desert Combat days, there was a Taw clan.
Well, maybe he is.
I wonder if it's the same people. That'd be kind of cool. Especially if he was a part of it then. Because then he might know my clan, which will remain anonymous.
I know what it is. I'll release it someday.
Until he tells me yes or no. If he says yes...
Well, Monster doesn't even listen to the show, if I had to guess.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, too bad. All right.
Next.
Next. Mass BTS, who is a regular listener. I see him all over the place. He says, I'll answer the community question about the lumber fire.
Fire?
The lumber fiber. I messed it up even. I don't think it's a really tactical disadvantage because it doesn't render past 50 meters, like I said. And in a dogfight, ESFs are easy to see anyways, at least for me, due to thruster burn. They give off and optics he uses, and he's just awesome. I use it on all my air vehicles for the same reason I use underglow on my ground vehicles. Come at me, bro mode. He's ready to do something. And he also said, on that, I do have a question for you guys. My lummi fiber on infantry has been confirmed by T-Ray over Twitter. What are your thoughts on that idea? Personally, I'll probably get it and run like I'm Tron. And my response is yes, if it applies to all classes.
That I agree there. It has to apply to all classes on a faction. Otherwise...
And I still really wish that they were all cross-faction because they are pretty pricey. Mm-hmm. But I can't say that... Well, this is just because I play different empires so frequently. If I played just TR, then I'd be like, yeah, totally worth it. Never wanted to play the other ones, but
Right. I don't know that I would. I kind of like. I kind of like the Luma fiber on the ESFs. I don't really like it on all the other vehicles, and I don't think that I would actually like it on an infantry. To be honest, I don't think that I would buy it.
Isn't it only on the Harasser?
I think so. Harasser, but it's on all the planes.
Galaxy and I like it on the Galaxy.
I don't know that I really like it on the Galaxy. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest.
I want to see what else they're gonna do. That's cool.
All right. Well, next up we have an email from Kevert, also regarding the Luma Fiber. He says that he is a dedicated Reaver pilot, and he runs with the quote-unquote Tron trim. He says you can turn it off with L, and this can be used to confuse enemy pilots by turning it off during the dogfight. Most of the time, it does not really matter, however.
I've gone into stealth mode.
Yeah, can you imagine? You got an enemy's right behind you. You just flash it on and off a few times.
You're like
slamming your L.
I'm imagining like the movie situation where they're like total idiots and they're like, oh, he turned his lights off. I can't see him anymore. You're just flying straight and you just turn them off and the pilot's like, oh, I guess he went away, and turns around.
We should do that sometime.
Well, I guess it doesn't work. Nighttime. All right. So next emails from Red Shirt Beta. Hey guys, I play TR on Briggs server and dabble a little with Vanu because the Mag Riders are fun, and hey, purple tights are cool, right?
Right.
I don't know about that. But
they are.
They might be cool as in not hot.
Cool as in sweet.
Your balls don't get sweaty. Especially in the desert, man. So I noticed you talked to outfits on Planetside World and would like it if you guys could grab some leaders from the Briggs server outfits. I play with the Redback outfit in Terran Republic, support the Aussie and Kiwi players. Is Kiwi like a racist term for Aussies?
No.
Okay.
My God.
Am I just stupid? It just seems I've never heard that before.
Kiwis aren't even Aussies.
Oh, what are they?
Isn't that New Zealand?
Oh, well, is it like a derogatory term for New Zealanders?
No, I don't believe so.
Isn't
there state? Isn't there a bird, the kiwi?
I don't know.
Either way, it's New Zealanders.
Oh, okay. Well, cool. Sorry, guys. If you run on Briggs' outfit, you will definitely notice a different type of playstyle in game interaction. And I think this is the guy I talked to on Steam, who had joined our lovely Steam group.
Oh.
And
we should actually take this offline and talk to Torx about this. We should probably... I don't think it's a bad idea. We should hook up with...
Well, I was going to say, we have to get up at like 6 a.m. to play with them.
Wrong. They have to get up to play with us.
Well, if we want to play on their server during prime time.
Wrong.
So, yeah.
I'm the talent.
But when I talked to him, it sounds like there's not as many trolls over in that part of the world, which seems enjoyable.
You don't think you'd miss them?
I'm pretty sure I would not miss a single troll.
All right. Next up from the Ninja Jedi, he says, I was wondering, since I play Vanguard Infiltrator a lot, I have a question. I often snipe from TI Allies to the Crown, and I was really annoyed to find that the VS Bolt action rifle still has bullet drop as well as damage drop. Is this true, or am I just imagining things?
It's true, get used to it.
Take your premium membership, and your bullet drop, and your damage drop. I do believe that we specifically said last episode that
it's staying.
That was staying. So, the Ninja Jedi, you are not imagining things. It is 100% true, and Nox says, get used to it.
It's been that way since beta.
All right, last email.
Last email from Sunny. Oh, Sunny from
no.
Sunny's Diner.
Different Sunny.
Huh?
Not the same Sunny.
This is a different Sunny. Oh.
It is.
All right. Well, Torx, congrats on getting married to Succubus.
Oh, jeez. And you wonder why you're single.
Can you hear the like bitterness in my voice? Anyways, I made a post at PSU a while ago suggesting that forum discussions about weapon balance could be helped if we had summary statistics across all servers to compare kills with every weapon across each faction. Well, my prayers have just been answered by the player and programmer Houston. Sorry, I wonder if that's the same Houston as the porn star. Probably not.
I doubt it.
So, I think she's the one that did like the 500 dude gangbang.
Dude, come on, just go.
The website is still a work in progress, but I think even in this early stage of functionality, that it's a very useful tool to spot weapons that are OP. I would say or overused. Oh, but I have to read more before I respond. What do you think about having statistics such as these at the player's disposal? Do you think that statistics such as these will increase, decrease, or have no effect on the amount of pointless crying about weapon balance in the forums? Oh, well, you know what? Actually, do you want to go first, Derringer?
Well, I think it will have no effect on the amount of pointless crying about weapon balance in the forums, because the people on the forums crying about weapon balance are not going to go to this website and read it. I mean, am I right?
Yeah, you're right. But I was thinking it's going to make things worse. Like, really, if people are using it to go, oh, that weapon's OP, I'm going to use that one, then all it is doing kills per hour and total kills. Well, if more people are using it, that's inherently going to go up. I guess the kills per hour would go down. But I don't know. It could go up if everyone starts using it and they're all using it at the crown or some stupid thing like that. So it's not really accurate of what's OP or what's not, if you ask me. It's just what's the most used. I mean, I did find it pretty funny that, well, I didn't find it funny. I was like so astonished that the hacksaw and all the other NC max anti-infantry weapons were the top. Big surprise there.
Well, if you listeners would like to make your own determination and check this site, since Nox didn't give it out, it's ps2-stats.com/weapon/infantry. We will include a link to this in the show notes to have you guys check it out.
And in case my interrupting cut it off, http://ps2-stats.com/weapon/infantry. All right. I was talking when you said it, so I had to do that.
Well, should we move on to thank yous?
Yeah, who's starting? We didn't call.
Yeah, we're just going to fly through these back and forth.
It's not 3 pages this time.
Yeah, because we won't butcher them like Torx does. So, first, thank you to MBVS,
Falcon BR,
Brucey,
Solex,
Shogun,
Tim Wamail.
I think that's right. Cammy Camera,
Lone Hunter,
Master,
Fenris,
1-2,
Blarg 2011,
Sentry Gun 84,
Boyos,
Oscar,
Philip,
Soli,
Mass BTS,
Kevert,
Red Shirt Beta,
the Ninja Jedi, and
Sunny, and not the same Sunny.
Not the same Sunny. Well, that's going to be it for our show this evening, but as always, our contact info, if you are looking for our website, it is at reachcastshow.com. Don't forget to get over there and hit our Support the Show tab. Any purchases through Amazon, Newegg are greatly appreciated. Donations are greatly appreciated as well. You can also check us out on Twitch. It is twitch.tv/reachcast. We do have our brand new Steam group, which is at steamcommunity.com/groups/reachcast. You can also just go into Steam and search for ReachCast as well. You will find us. As always, send us an email at reachcastshow@gmail.com. You can also call us at 415-787-3224. Again, that's 415-78-REACH. Our show Twitter is at ReachCastShow. And you can also reach each of us individually on Twitter. Nox, you are what?
NOXXIA.
I am at The Derringer. And what is Torque's new Twitter handle?
Torque's new Twitter is I lost my life to a succubus. It's ReachCast Torx, TORKZ.
As always, we want to thank the rest of the ReachCast crew who do not have a voice on our show. This is Steve, Cliff John, Jenny Boo, and Hamma. That's it for this week's show. Thank you for listening to our Torx-less episode, and we will see you all next week.
I need just about Tree Fitty.
What was that?
I need just about Tree Fitty.
Tree Fitty?
Yeah. Someone will get it.
That's right, Sergeant. You made the call. All right, soldiers. You've done a great job here today. Let's get our stuff and get the hell out of here.